Thanks, everybody. Great to have so many friends, supporters, and family here. Really appreciate it. In the dark days that followed the horrific tragedy in Las Vegas just 1 month ago, stories of hope and light carried us through. Stories of our heroic law enforcement and first responders, our medical personnel, and civilians jumped into action. They embody the bravery, determination, and strong will that make Nevada a great state. But we should not be surprised. Nevada is a remarkable place filled with remarkable people. It was conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that the American dream is real. Nevada is a state where people have come for generations for a dream of a better life, and they've been able to make it here in our state. That was true for my great-grandfather, John Ross, who came over in the early 1900s and went on to become an attorney, a district attorney, and eventually a federal judge. That was also true for my great-grandfather, Dominique Laxalt, that came from the Basque Country and made his way as a sheep herder and rancher in the hills of the Sierra Nevada. I was born in Reno, a fourth-generation Nevadan. My mother, Michelle, raised me as a single mom. She lacked a college degree and struggled for years after I was born. We didn't have much. It was just the two of us in a one-bedroom apartment. With hard work, she persevered and built an incredibly successful business. She always told me I was her inspiration, but I owe everything to her. You are my hero, Mom. I don't want to get choked up. Love you, Mom. I only got to know my dad, the late Senator Pete Domenici, as an adult, and I came to respect his remarkable commitment to this nation. My grandfather was my role model. He served in the U.S. Army in World War II, and then as Nevada's governor and United States Senator. Drawing on his roots in Nevada's spirit of independence and self-reliance, he pushed a particular brand of Western conservatism. He pushed to make government smaller so that individuals might do bigger things. This was late in the Cold War era, when America needed a president like Ronald Reagan, who was able to offer us a brighter vision, a vision that could truly offer us a morning in America. Heroes like my grandfather and President Reagan, who stood for a freer, stronger, and more prosperous nation, are where I draw my political convictions today. Now, I'm proud of my family history, but like many people's histories, the reality is often more complex. When I was 18 years old, the bright fluorescent lights of a hospital trauma ward pierced my eyes. I had not just been in a car accident or got a concussion from scoring a game-winning touchdown. The alcohol-fueled fight of that night was not the first. Through the haze of alcohol, the pain, and shame, I began to realize that I could not continue down this path. Shortly after I went home for Christmas break, received my first GPA of a 1.0, my life began to change forever. I'll never forget the day I walked into my grandfather's office to find my mother, my grandfather, and a family friend. In that moment, our family curse of alcoholism was a silver lining. My grandmother, Jacqueline Ross Laxalt, had blazed a trail to recovery in the 1970s, and she guided my intervention. I had my doubts those first few days until I began to hear the stories of men that could be me 20 years in the future. Killed. One man at the treatment center told the group about his alcoholism, about the drunken car accident he had caused that killed his kids and left him with a lifetime of sorrow and guilt. I realized that committing to treatment and handing over my life to God to help me gain and keep sobriety would be the most important step I could ever make. That first step helped me go from a troubled young man with a 1.0 GPA to someone who would go on to graduate with high honors from Georgetown University. That first step was part of God's plan for me to dedicate my life to service. I signed up to serve my country while I was still in law school and was commissioned as an officer in the United States Navy. A year into my active duty service, I volunteered to serve in Iraq. My unit assisted with the detention and prosecution of thousands of war criminals and terrorists. And I can tell you, when I went to law school, I never thought I'd be in the same place as men that tried to bring the world to its knees. But keeping the most dangerous terrorists in the world off the battlefield helped shape me as an officer and a man. Now, the U.S. Navy not only helped me become the man I am today, but it led me to the woman I would call my wife. While teaching as a professor at the United States Naval Academy, I happened to sit down next to Jamie at a Catholic church. She was working as a civilian at the Pentagon, pursuing her own dreams of service. A year and a half later, we were married, moved back to Nevada, and had two beautiful daughters, Sophia and Isabella. And Sophia, my 4-year-old, offered me a little advice for my speech today. She said, "Papa, you need a little something more." I paused. We need more Sophia, more Isabella, and more Mama. Marrying Jamie was the most important decision of my life. I've drawn strength from her every day of our marriage, and I thank you for standing with me today and every day. I was blessed with people who stood with me during my struggle and my long path to recovery. It's why I've sought to use my role as your Attorney General to protect those that most need protecting. I was absolutely disgusted by the decades-long backlog kit, the decades-long 8,000 untested sexual assault kits. That's 8,000 kits of mothers, daughters, sons that were sexually assaulted, and the kits were never tested. If anything happened to one of my daughters, you can imagine, like all of you, we would not rest till justice was served. It's why I took on the backlog of untested kits, and it's why I also made it a priority to make testing mandatory in the state of Nevada so that never happens again. When elder fraud spiked in Nevada, my first thought was of my 92-year-old great aunt, Sue. Sitting on her couch and potentially being taken advantage of by the most despicable in our society. I created the first elder fraud unit to defend those like my great aunt. We did so with legal settlement funds, not taxpayer money, and we've seen real results. This unit led to the largest guardianship prosecution in the history of Nevada. Our men and women in the armed services make unbelievable sacrifices to defend our country. We owe it to them to help here at home. I created the Office of Military Legal Assistance so that the military mom in Sparks, whose home is threatened because her husband is deployed, has someone to come to her defense. The program has provided assistance to thousands of members of the military community across the state of Nevada. I've also consistently stood for my principles. Too often today, we see our leaders campaign one way and then cave on their beliefs once elected. I hear the disappointment in this brand of politician when I travel around our great state. I believe in authenticity. Your leaders should do what they say they're going to do. Voters expect us to get things done, and that's exactly what I've done as your Attorney General since day one. I've saved taxpayers over $30 million. I fought sanctuary cities, won the first human trafficking conviction, protected our water from the EPA, fought the sage grouse plan, and took on the Department of Labor to protect our businesses and jobs. We've prioritized consumer protection, and recently we had our opioid program, the Prescription for Addiction, passed so that we can help take on the scourge of opioid addiction in the state of Nevada. I've fought for results every day on this job, and today I'm here to tell you I'm going to continue that fight. I come before you today to announce that I'm running for governor of Nevada. I'm running for governor so that future generations of Nevadans can dream and thrive in the years to come. I'm running for governor so that Sophia, Isabella, and my soon-to-be-born son can live, expected in December, can live in a new chapter of liberty, the same liberty that drew immigrants like Dominique Laxalt and thousands of others to this great state. I'm running for governor so that Nevada's next chapter is one that is safe, prosperous, and filled with opportunity. I want a safe Nevada. As an officer in the United States Navy, I saw firsthand the threats we face as a nation. As a father, I know how critical it is that our families feel safe in their communities. As your governor, I will continue to make safety a top priority. I want a prosperous Nevada. Nevada must be the most economically competitive state in the American West. Must be a place where businesses can thrive, our families can prosper, and every Nevadan can work towards a better life. We need smart reforms to keep taxes low, limit regulations, remove obstacles to growth, attract entrepreneurs, and ensure our workforce has the education for good-paying jobs. I want better education for Nevada. In Nevada, too often we fail our children. Too many of our kids have the odds stacked against them because they're stuck in failing schools. We must find educational solutions that create choices, not restrict them. Your address may determine where you sleep at night, but it cannot be the primary factor in determining the type of education you receive. But we must continue to fund public education and support promising education reforms we've seen over the last few years, especially those aimed at achieving universal literacy. We must continue to work with the Nevada system of higher ed to develop and train our workforce for the Nevada of tomorrow. We owe it to our children to get this right. If you put your trust in me, I'll work hard every day to make sure that Nevada's next chapter is one that is safe, prosperous, and filled with opportunity. But I need your support. I need all of you on the team. Today, I ask you to join me in this fight so that together we can write Nevada's next chapter, the greatest our state has ever seen. God bless you. God bless Nevada, and God bless America.